Hi, and welcome to the Adored Woman podcast with me, Naomi Thompson. In this episode, I speak with my mentor of the past 10 years, Rori Raye. Let's just dive on into the episode. If you find yourself being the doer, the thinker, the leader, the problem solver in your relationships, then you may be a lot in your masculine energy. And that is what we're going to talk about today. What it looks like when you're in your masculine energy, what the hell masculine energy actually is, and how to stop wearing the trousers and get more cherishing and more sweetness and more romance from the men in your life, or the man you've yet to meet, or if you're dating, all the guys that you're dating. And I really want to introduce you to Rori Raye. Rori Raye has been my mentor over this last 10 years. Can you believe it, Rory? And Rory created Have the Relationship You Want, the Modern Siren program, so many programs that have changed thousands of women's lives. And Rory also has a coach training and has coaches all over the world. And I'm really proud to say that I work with Rory and have done for many years. So, Rory, welcome.
Hello, Naomi. Naomi, you're awesome. I'm thrilled to be here with you.
So, I would just really love to ask you, and I know for those people who really know you, they're going to know so much about masculine and feminine energy. But actually, I think it's really important for us to get reminded of what masculine energy is. And would you talk to us about that and how we really need it in our life and how it actually gets in the way?
Wow. All right. Well, first of all, I I feel like I need to say that I've been here for a long, long, long time. And when I say long time, I was here like at the beginning when the concept of feminine energy began. There was a woman you probably don't even know, Shirley Luthman, and she was talking about this, and it was like, what? She was saying how she was talking about polarities, and she was talking about masculine and feminine, and how that was messing up the concept of intimacy, emotional intimacy. And then she passed the baton to a woman named Shakti Gawain, who you may know, Living in the Light, the whole light workers concept. And then came Pat Allen, you might know her, and I was privileged to be able to see her publicly. But what I felt from reading all of those books that saved my life at a time in my marriage when I realized how controlling I was, how codependent I was, even though I didn't know that name, how much I was trying to manage everything and how tense I was, how unreal I was, how inauthentic I was to me, how I couldn't feel anything. I was just always trying to strategize. I was as bad as anybody, any woman I have met who's ever come to me. And what I realized was that there was no how. There was no how to. It was like, don't talk from your masculine energy. Don't try to control. But nobody said, how do I do that when that has been my life? You know? And so I started to consider what that might look like and what that might be like. And when I became a coach, came with the name Coach Rory, and started having friends and doing meetings and starting to do things in my living room and talk about it, I really realized that what I had learned was literally a state of being,
Mm.
a sea change in a state of being. And right now, here we are, many, many, many years later, 20, 25 years later, and I'm into my new project, which is called The Feminine State of Being. So to me, feminine energy and masculine energy are altered states of being, and that the natural state of being for most people in civilization is the masculine concept. We can call it the patriarchy, we call it whatever we want, but it is this concept that logic and
Mm.
thinking things through and figuring things out and dealing with people in a managerial, mental golden rule, however you choose to live your life, way is the only way. And that
Mm.
women who are emotional and dramatic and everything else are weak and out of step and need to be shoved aside, like patted on the head and gone, no, logic needs to run the world. And what's happened is men have discovered with the help of intuition experts that their feminine energy is actually more powerful than their masculine energy. And
Mhm.
because they are men and because they are primarily seen as masculine energy creatures, they are allowed to now cry and be soft and be feeling and be open, but we aren't. We women now are trying to prove ourselves by not being angry, by being reasonable, by being, have you heard this word? Well modulated, well regulated, regulating your system. All of this is a way of regulating your emotions so that you can be more mental and more masculine. And at the same time, people are talking about feelings, but they're really talking about it in the masculine concept. Like, if you're in your head and you're masculine and you're a man, learn to feel more. But women, we're just shutting down constantly. So, what is the feminine state of being? It is actually being in what feels like an altered state where you are here now, being here now, and you are in your body, not your head. So, I go masculine is head, feminine is body. Embody the feelings and the emotions that you feel in your gut, in your body, and especially, and I hope it's okay to use words that the female anatomy, your vagina, your cervix, your lower chakras, what you feel there, the amount of openness that you can allow yourself there, that is where your feminine state of being starts, where your feminine energy is accessible for you. So, what
Mm.
masculine energy is for us is just following the precept that we need to be organized, we need to see order, we need to handle our calendar in a certain strategic way, we need to always be thinking of what's next, we need to be, and this is a big one, goal oriented, especially in work. And we do just the complete opposite at Rori Raye Certified Coach Training and all the business courses, complete opposite. We're working from intuition. We're working from passion. We're working from
Mhm.
emotion. And that is our birthright. So for us to be in our masculine, it doesn't feel right. It feels like we're always in our head and we're shut down from neck down. We're shut down. So what happens in a relationship with a man is we're shut down. So we choose men who are shut down, which is
Yeah.
why you're always coming up with all these emotionally unavailable men, these actually unavailable men. It's because in some way we actually do not want to be in love. We actually do not want to be emotionally intimate. We do not want that. It is terrifying because it gets in the way of our goal of being a logical, well regulated human. And that is not what we women are built for.
And then what we do, don't we? We choose that man that we have to focus on and work him out and analyze him and try and change him. And all of that focus means that I don't even have to look at myself. I don't have to feel what I'm feeling because I can just focus on him
Yep.
because he needs my attention. And it's another way, isn't it, of numbing out from our feelings by focusing it all on him. It's not just doom scrolling and gin and tonics, and it's actually focusing our thoughts and attention and our everything on men. And yes, 100%, you have bought the simple know-how into all of these tools. And, the women that have gone before, I know of some of them came before you, yes, really bought these ideas, but I had never ever met anyone who was able. I mean, you create tools in seconds, and I love, I've really learned that from you, that confidence just to say, I'm just going to create a tool in this second to help a woman in the moment. Sat on a date with a guy. And she just gets to practice a simple tool with a simple image, and he doesn't even know she's doing it, but he feels something different. And she feels something different. And then and if we are in physics, we're all energetic beings, you know, we get to feel someone else's energy. Our energy radiates out, our molecules vibrate together. My goodness, if a woman if we can just shift the chatter in our head and change to something else in seconds, then of course he's going to feel it, and what
Absolutely.
So and what I love is how your work and when I, learning your work for myself and then training coaches in your work, realizing how gently we can open up and be vulnerable. We don't have to just do it in seconds. We can gently, gently in those baby steps open up and be more vulnerable because as women, we have been scared to do that. We do get scared, don't we? So, if a woman is going, you used the word control earlier, and no one wants to describe themselves as controlling. We would all go, well, I'm not controlling. But what does that look like? I know I was in my relationship, but I would never have named it that until I met you. So, what exactly is that? What are we doing when in a relationship when we're being controlling?
All right, well, let's see if I can build a framework first, and then I'll give you the specifics that you could fix it because it's like anything else. It's like learning to play the piano or any kind of instrument. If we want to look at your body and yourself as an instrument, and if you're faith based, you're an instrument of God. And if you're not, you are part of all it is. You're part of nature. You're like a tree. So, first, I always start with the energetics. Where are you in your whole body? Are you stuck up from your neck up? Or can you feel everything? And then we just start feeling literally the energies in your body and things moving. And that alone is like a big, huge aha. Because remember, we're changing states. We're altering states. It feels like a new state. And you know what you can align this with? The concept of the zone. Sometimes you're just in the zone, and you don't know what happens. All of a sudden, everything's easy and you're just doing it, nowhere to go. You're walking here and you're not even thinking about it. That's what feminine energy is. That's what it feels like. It feels mindless. You don't have to focus on being mindful. It feels completely without any tags, any directions. It just everything's just kind of going. You're baking, you're cooking, you're doing it, and you feel your whole energy more alive. You're bigger. You don't feel like you need to distract yourself. That's what it feels like. So first you start noticing how all your body feels to you. How are you where are you shutting down on your vagina, which is where we clench. So we work on what does it feel like to expand and open that up. That's the first thing you do, and you can practice that all day long all by yourself, and you can practice that out in public because we are taught to clench when we're in public, right? So we start clenching around men, and we're literally making our energy, our natural person into this little can, right? So we just need to feel what it feels like to expand, little tools like just letting your arms out and feel the ocean on one side and feel the mountain on the other. And then breathe into that. And little things like that. So,
Mm.
first of all, we just need to release the or. There's a million tools I have. Well, not a million, but there's a whole bunch of tools I have to let those little beads of energy expand and fly out and be yours. This is what authenticity is. Because you
Yeah.
are being authentic even when you're clenched. That's you. And that's fine. Then there's the other part that's codependent. That is, I would say 99.9% of women. We were raised by people who might have been well-meaning, but for most of the world who actually had so much wounding themselves that they behaved badly with you when you were little, and you were not fully loved, fully extended, fully allowed to be, and that's carried forward. So what you did learn, and I just call this your natural brilliance, you are brilliant being alive and here when so many of people in the world have caved in. They're addicted to something. They can't get out of bed in the morning. You're here. That means your codependence was a superpower. And I want you to really feel that, okay? No matter what you feel that you shut down earlier and missed, you stayed alive and functioning. So big stars to you, okay? But that
Mm.
codependence is reading the room is your life. I read the room because I need to know what that person wants from me so I can give it to them. So what happens is, let's say you're with a man, you instinctively are trying to read him, not for who he is, because actually subconsciously you don't care at all who he is. He's not even human to you. He's just like to your subconscious, not your conscious, because you're a big hearted person. But Your subconscious just sees him as a strategy to stay alive. It's all survival oriented. And it's not just, that reptilian brain, it's the skill set that you've developed in order to keep yourself alive by people liking you. So what happens is we meet a guy and your subconscious is busily trying to do what you need to do to make him
Mhm.
happy so he will do what you want him to do so
Yeah.
that you can create this relationship and day in, day out. That's what you did with your parents and your teachers who wouldn't let you be you. They didn't know how to let you be you. And so you adapted continually. So we're adapting to men. And it's like we lose ourselves. We don't even know who we are. We know some things we like, but from a moment to moment basis, we're always looking out for what that person wants.
Yeah.
So that is control. In other
Yeah.
words, I'm trying to control the world around me by reading it and doing what it wants. And here's the kicker. All the anger we feel all of this anger towards men in what we're in relationship with because they're not doing what we want them to do. And actually, we never even asked for it. So what we're trying to do here in Rori Raye's Simon world is ask directly for what you deeply want and need. And first you got to find that, right? But when we ask for what we want and we don't get it, we're really not as angry as we are when we think we kind of tried to control the situation to get it and we didn't get it or he didn't guess. And that is, I'm calling that leveling, or actually, I'm calling that unleveling because we're always seeing men or situations as either above us or below us. Oh, he's trash. He's not good looking. I'm not attracted to him. Out the door. Or, oh, he's so hot. He's awesome. And then our codependence kicked in and we try to figure out how to control the situation. So, what we want to do is kind of get rid of all the levels and just see everybody in this big expanded space as humans. And then our heart and our body and our vaginas and everything start to actually connect. So, it's a very quick, immediate connection that happens. So you can switch from disconnected men who have nothing to do with you, really, and are not the right men for you to establishing connection from moment one and building that through the fear, through all the weirdness of it. And that's what we do.
Yeah. That's
That was
just
the answer.
yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and, I can really see that. So in my first marriage, I could see that I was always trying to turn him into the man that I needed. And,
Yes.
everything from I would book his doctor's appointments for him. I was always hassling him to stop smoking. I was doing all the things, and then I would get angry and frustrated with him. But exactly all of that was trying to make him into the man he was rather than just see who he was. Let him keep showing me. But, something changed, and, I think a lot of women will recognize those traits in themselves because we don't want to think of ourselves as controlling, but actually, it's out of fear. It's out of this fear that if I don't have the relationship that I want, if I can't make him into what I want, then who am I and what will I have? And I'll be all on my own. And, something you talk about is that inner strength and the outer strength. Like, where do we wear our strength? Now, I know back then I was a very armored girl. I wore my strength on the outside. And I do remember my husband saying to me, he said, "Why are you being so aggressive?" And I remember stopping and I didn't know why, but it was like I had to fight. It was like I had to fight. He could see my armor and he just was always waiting for it to come down so he could, sort of step in and step closer. But, we were both backwards and forwards. But what changed is, and what I see changing for women who do this work, is that when they realize that actually they're not responsible for the world turning and they're not responsible for how things turn out. And no matter how things turn out in life, they're going to be okay. And I think doing this work helps you switch from that strong on the outside, armored on the outside, to the strength on the inside. So on the outside, there can be softness. It's safe to be soft and vulnerable and open. Not when we're hard as a rock inside, but when we have that strength, like a seed of strength. And I do remember saying to my husband, I said, "I'm just afraid you're gonna die. That's why I go on at you about smoking." And I just said, "And it's not my business that you smoke. It's your path and your journey, and I can't control it, so I'm not gonna talk about it anymore." And I just didn't. Never spoke about and he's my ex-husband now, and he still smokes, but it was like the relief, and I think, ladies listening, there is a relief. It is exhausting trying to control a man, and actually, the relief that comes with everything you've been saying, Rory, about just feeling, "What is it I'm feeling? I'm feeling afraid. Yeah, I'm just feeling scared." That's what most of us are feeling, aren't we? Yeah,
Well, yeah, and we don't want that to run us, you know, but we do need to feel it.
yeah,
And I think part of the problem is we're trying to push away all the feelings we don't want to feel. So we're spending so much energy trying to sidestep fear and do things in different ways. Where if we just face fear head on, fall in love with it, feel it, it actually adds to the energy and it turns into, and the actors know this, it turns into excitement. The feeling of fear could be called many things. So call it excitement. I mean, I am certain that people who jump out of planes for the first time are terrified, but they're also excited and they're doing it because they want to. And actors who walk on stage feel terrified when they step out on the stage, but boy, we want to. And that takes over. So for me, the problem that's the quickest to solve in this whole issue is to find what's at the bottom of what we want. Like for you, the smoking was like, I don't want to be around smoke. I don't want to be around smoke. So I don't want to be with somebody who's smoking in my environment, would be the first thing. Why? Why? That is an ask, right? But why is that an ask? What's the at the bottom of that want? That seems like that's the bottom of the want, right? I'm afraid that you're gonna die, but also I don't wanna be around somebody who smokes because it makes me feel anxious. Okay, so what do I want? All those are don't wants and complaints. You're smoking, it's all a complaint. It's all a don't want. What do I want? I just wanna feel peaceful.
mm,
I just wanna feel safe. I just wanna feel clean and clear. And yes, I'm involved with a person who's another person and has different ways, and I need to adjust some things, but I don't feel peaceful right now, and I want to feel peaceful.
yeah,
So you say to him, I just want to feel peaceful, and I'm feeling so anxious. And every time I see you blow out a cigarette, I can feel so anxious. I don't want to feel that way. I just want to feel peaceful. What can we do?
mm,
And the first request would be, please, I want the house. I would really want the house to be smoke free. I really want the house to be smoke
yeah,
free. I want to live in a smoke free environment. That's an ask.
yeah,
You could get very pissed off at that, but he only smokes outside. All
mm,
right. And then you're going to deal with his anger, and then you're going to deal with that. I want to, that's how we can develop the connection and find the right guy. Because
mhm,
if we're going around with, I don't like this, I don't like that, that complaint, I don't like that look, I don't like this thing, I don't like way he speaks, I don't like this, we're in the wrong place in our state of being. We're
mm,
in the complaint and disappointment department, and everybody can hear that. And it gives us a vibe to them of, that person's kind of a Debbie Downer in a weird way. It's just kind of doesn't feel right to them. And
yeah,
men are pretty astute. They may not put words to it, but they know when they go, the vibe just isn't there. I'm just not
yeah,
falling in love. It's because we are in this heady complaint disappointment department. We gotta drop, and the word drop is my big word, drop into our body, into our vaginas, into our deep wells of energy, and then we turn into this feminine state of being, and all we can feel is what we want, what turns us on. The goal is this turn on that you feel sexually. That is a huge help.
mm,
When you can locate what turns you on, tingle, that lets your body go and it turns you on sexually, it's not sex. It's an aliveness of your whole body that you're feeling. All of a sudden, the muscles that you've been clenching are relaxing, and they may not even be muscles you're aware of consciously. All this inner world of your body is an energetic thing, and it's not out here. I always see everything as down below. Like,
Mm,
put your feet on the floor and imagine you're wading in a pool of all that is, and everybody you see is standing in this pool and everything, and we're all connected that way from the bottom. It's a
mm,
whole different feeling than looking around here. We're all connected from the bottom. That means I need to live as low in my body as possible, and all of a sudden, things start to loosen up,
yeah.
and then the control part of it seems like a very superficial thing. It feels like, "Oh, I don't need to go there. All I need to do is say what would feel good. I just wanna feel open and, oh, and touched, loved, and, oh, I just wanna feel that." When that takes over, you are in your feminine state of being, everybody around you can feel that. All of a sudden,
Mm,
you're a direct line for them. Men get very confused, and when they feel confused by what it is you say you want, and they don't understand it, they don't understand directions without understanding what it is you want. They need to feel that. And when we're just kinda saying, "Call me more often," they don't understand that. So they shut down, and it makes them feel angry because they think you just said they're doing something wrong, they're not calling you enough, which is true. And they do not like that complaint because it makes them feel wrong and bad and like they did something wrong. They're looking for something easy and lovable, but very interesting. And we're not very interesting when we're all focused on making them the person we want them to be. We're not
mm.
very interesting. All it is
And also
about
we're
them.
confusing then, aren't we? That we
Yes,
they kind of creates this fuzz of drama, and,
yes,
what so many men just want what men want is they want it straight, they wanna hear it. Even if
yes.
even if it's something that they've done that we're not happy with. I remember, when I first left my husband, I dated a guy, and I remember I'd bring things up. I was really practicing communicating, and he just said, "I love our conversations. They're so warm." And I was talking about things I wasn't happy about that he had done or not done, but he loved them because he knew that I wasn't gonna blame him, I wasn't making him wrong, and that we would find a way through and we would get closer by having this conversation. You and I, Rory, have spoken about the idea of the relationship being a sanctuary. And I think
Yes.
that is what creates that. Everything you're talking about, when we can drop down inside of us and find out what we really want, which I'd really love to link for everyone your want class, because I think that would be incredible for people to look at. And also, the inner boy masterclass we created. I think all of these, but that one class just helps you come to that place of what is it I really want. And women come to me all the time and they'll be saying, "Yeah, well, I want a guy who's like this, and I want a guy who's like this, and he needs to be into this and this kind of height." And I say, "Okay." And then we get to how do you actually want to feel in a relationship? And there's probably three words that sum it all up, for her, which is normally safe, cherished, peaceful, something like this, you know.
Ye
And I say, okay, he could be a millionaire or he could run a plumbing firm. If you feel safe, loved, and peaceful, cherished and peaceful, it's not going to matter, you know? So that becomes your guide. So instead of it being the want from up in our head that we think we want, it becomes, what the hell do I want? And, that for
Mhm.
me is what we get out of coming into our feelings. We actually get to go, oh, there you are. What is it I really want? Rather than what I've thought I wanted or the world tells me I want or magazines or social media. So thank you so much, Rory.
Ye Oh, this has just been delightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we could talk and talk and talk, and I'd definitely love to talk more about that whole idea of the relationship being a sanctuary and communication. I think there's so many more conversations we can have, but here, thank you so much. And everybody, I will link, get into Rory's world. Her newsletters are just great. You've got a great freebie on your website as well, so people can actually just start getting to know you. So just tell me about that. What do you have?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
You can go find me anywhere on social media and comment Jane in the DMs, and the bot Gwen will automatically send you Jane's 5 siren steps that got Jim's commitment, if commitment is the thing, meaning you're in a relationship. And if you are not in a relationship and it's about dating, the I've got a new freebie called The Feminist State of Being. I've something called Soft, the intimacy. I've got a quiz. There's just a whole bunch of things, and if
Yeah.
you want, just, email me and say you got to me through Naomi here, and, I'll give you a bigger program. I'll give you, like, something that's perfect for you. And
Mm.
perhaps I'll get to see you on Siren Island, which is the membership of Siren School. And basically, it's the hub of everything. It's like there are Clive classes, Naomi teaches there. I'm there once a month. And basically, we kinda chunk it down to what your situation is and try to directly help your specific situation in a setting that's both private and group, and then expands to, other ways that you can get your solution really fast, because this is the fastest work of course, I'm prejudiced, but it's really works fast. It sounds abstract, but actually, once you put the scripting together with your inner world, like, bingo, it happens so fast. You move into your feminine state and everything changes. And I will
100%.
next time we talk, I wanna talk about, I think the problem that we have is because a relationship and marriage is like the liberating place where we can fully go out with sexual ecstasy. And we
Mm.
are allowed in that point, and we're afraid if we get together with a guy who doesn't really turn us on, it's going to be a bust. And so I want to talk about that's not true.
Oh, that would be so good because we all think the instant chemistry is the be all and end all, but yes, okay, we will save
No, it's
that.
the opposite. You're just going to have to trust me on this. I mean, I'm huge on the depth of sex or sexual fulfillment for women as a big, big, big deal. And it's really important. And you really want that in a lifetime relationship. You don't just want a friend. So I'm here to tell you how it happens that it becomes way more than you expect.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about that. Rory, thank you so much. Whenever I have a conversation with Rory like this, I feel like I've been transported to another world. Her work has been a source of inspiration and transformation for me for so many years now, and I'm eternally grateful for what she's taught me and what I get to teach other women. I'm going to leave all the links to Rory's memberships and freebies in the description below. And if you want to get my free gift, The 9 Aspects of the Adored Woman, I will also link that below and the ways that you can contact me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next episode, and I'm so glad you joined me today.